Hello and welcome. I am Light, and this is my channel. And I'm excited to come to you today to talk to you about my stay in the hospital. I was in the hospital 19 days between the end of September and the end of October. And you meet a lot of people. And I had no sleep schedule. I was doing therapy in my lungs with what we call the lung pounder. Has paddles and it beats on your lungs, your chest, and your back at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Coming in doing some other therapy at 4 o'clock in the morning. Be able to sleep again at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning when they would come in and do like morning meds right before they change shifts. Then at 7, you meet your new nurse. And I had therapy off and on all day long, every few hours for my lungs. And medication all day long, and blood tests all day long, and x-rays all day long. And I was fortunate enough that my husband would stay the night every night. And if he could be there during the day, he would. But if he wasn't able, he would drive home at 5 o'clock in the morning, pick up my son, and bring my son to the hospital. He would stay there and keep me company during the day. Turned into my little caregiver. He's not little, he's 23 years old. But he would ask the doctor, what is that medication? Could that be an allergy? Has she taken it before? Are you going to be watching her? The nurses. And he also got to know all my nurses, my caregivers, therapists, x-ray techs, the food service people, and the young men in the food service department were lovely and funny and intelligent. And I want to tell you some stranger things that happened to me while I was in the hospital. So, as I posted before, I coded. I was given an antibiotic that I've been given 100 times. It's one of the only antibiotics that I can take because I'm antibiotic resistant. It was not a big deal. It was no deal. Wasn't even thinking twice about it. And within the span of 3 minutes, I went from being fine to turning beet red, unable to breathe. My face turned gray. My lips turned blue. And my husband said he watched me die. I don't remember a lot of what happened. I can remember bits and pieces. I can remember gasping for air. I can remember that my brain was misfiring. I lost a student who I coached volleyball. She was killed in a car accident about a year and a half ago. My brain showed me how she had died. Then my brain made me believe that I was under a pile of lumber. And then my brain told me to be rational and to understand that my father had died suffocating because of COVID. He was one of the very first people who died. Very, very, very first people who died when there was less than 20. And he suffocated to death. And it's something that it's very hard to deal with knowing that, because what is a scary, unimaginable thing to happen. But as I was suffocating to death, I was having my brain misfire. And then my brain told me that you're not going to feel this. And I had a very calm sense that this was it. And then I was brought back, had a oxygen mask on, set at hurricane speeds to get oxygen in me, and I was gasping into that, but breathing. And it was a spectacular event that I would never wish on somebody, and to have my husband watch it was um, I felt bad. I felt guilty. I wish that I hadn't quote unquote done that, and you know, maybe that's people's nature. When you see the face of someone who was literally in shock, he was literally in shock. So I get moved to a room, and a nurse walks in, and she stands at my door, and she says, "Girl, you're a clairvoyant." After this, I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to try to stop using gender and what their job and position was in the hospital. And I I said, "What?" She goes, "You're a clairvoyant. Is that what you would identify yourself as?" And I said, "Usually I would identify myself as an empath." And she goes, "Yes, but you're clairvoyant." And she came into my room and she explained to me that she too was clairvoyant and she could walk into a room and get a feeling for somebody. She said you sometimes walk in a room and you get a really bad feeling, even if they're being kind, they're not being rude, they seem, quote, normal, but you can feel that something's wrong. And she said, as soon as I saw you, I knew you were clairvoyant. And she asked me if I could turn that off in the hospital. And I replied that I have to turn it off in the hospital. That what I do is acknowledge that there was somebody who died in this room, probably many people who have died in this room. In fact, this room I had, which is like a penthouse-sized room, beautiful, beautiful view, had blood splatters all over the ceiling. First thing I noticed. And I noticed it every day, all day. So, but you just acknowledge that, you turn that off. You can't sit in here and feel that. But if I go to an historical place, then I try to amp it up because I wanna feel those vibes, those feelings. And she told me that her father owns one of the largest, I'll say, a museum in the world that deals with this certain subject, and that she's scared to go, that she's scared to walk up the stairs by herself, that she can feel the artifacts. And I asked her if they were, if she felt fear or confusion or sadness, um, or if, what she was feeling was grief. And she said, grief. It's alive with grief. Um, I am going to be going to visit her and her father at this place. And when we talked a lot about things like that, then I had another caregiver tell me that when this person was 3 years old, they were walking up the stairs of their house, and their mother heard them speaking to someone, and there was nobody else in the house. And the mother followed the child up the stairs and saw this child's toys floating in the air above them. And as soon as the mother saw them, they fell down to the floor. This person told me that strange things started happening in the house. Items would be removed, or they would move, and so that within 4 months of moving into this house, that person's family had moved out. I had somebody else tell me that he said, "Do you want to know what I think aliens are?" I just said what the gender was. This person said, "Do you want to know what I think aliens are?" And I said, "What?" And they said, "I think they're fallen angels." And we got into a discussion about the Nephilim being, according to the Bible, humans and um, cast out angels, having mated and created giants that call themselves God, which got us into a circle talking about things like the pyramids, the Mayan Indians, the Incas, um, all these places that have these exact same type of architecture drawings that match each other, and there's no way that they had contact with each other unless they did. And the miracle of the way they built these buildings to align with the stars and whatnot, and we talked about that. Um, then I had somebody ask me if chupacabras are real, which is very funny because if anybody has been around here for a long, long time knows that I once had a podcast with my son, my daughter's boyfriend, and Rob, which was hysterical. And I gave the bad news that chupacabras are, in fact, not real. That there was a movie being produced in Puerto Rico. The locals thought it was a documentary, and they came up with chupacabras. And then he told me, "But I've seen chupacabras. I've seen them on the internet. I've seen them on game cameras." And we talked about that and different type of cryptids, and he told me that he was absolutely positive that he'd seen Bigfoot. Um, Another nurse came in my room and spoke for 2 hours about religion relating to politics and demon possession and their beliefs about that situation and asking me what my beliefs are regarding that situation. It was very interesting because these people were talking to me like I was the expert on, Nephilim and giants and chupacabras, cryptids, demons, and so it was a lot of fun because of this channel and because of the things that I have looked up and investigated and done videos about for the last almost 11 years. I do know a lot about things that most people know probably nothing about, except for people like you, right? Me. But we find these things interesting. Anyway, I met back up with somebody who had told me that they could feel the rooms that were haunted. We talked about the rooms that she would not, oh, I am the worst, go into um, alone, and how They would hear screams at night. Another nurse told me, male or female, I do not know, that one night it was really slow on the floor that she was on, and they heard a scream that she said, I'm the worst, made her blood boil, hair stand up on the back of her neck, scream. And they stood there at the nurse's station because they knew that there was nobody in the room where the scream came. And in fact, there was no female on the floor that night in our room, period. So I just wanted to tell you all about these types of things. And I did not feel somebody crawl into bed with me this time, which was just fine with me. I think I spent so much time there that I was really able to um, put that type of thing in a box. And um, the circumstances of me being in the hospital were so frightening that that really took top bill. And I want to say this: pneumonia, a very bad case, very bad strain of pneumonia is going around the United States, and you are not hearing about it. The CDC is not allowed to release information in regards to any type of illness that is going around and killing people, and this is killing many, many people. And I've been told by many, many healthcare providers that it is, in fact, incredibly dangerous, incredibly hard to get rid of. And I personally know 3 people that have died from pneumonia in the last few months, including a good friend of mine who lost a daughter. So please do me a favor, and if you have any symptoms, if you feel that you are out of breath at all, please go to the emergency room. They know that this is here, and they are working on ways to treat it and to hit it hard. Lots of lung therapy, lots of um, multiple antibiotics, which is a difficult situation for me as I am resistant and now allergic to so many. But they did a great job, and I want you guys to please, please be safe. Please go in if you feel any signs. It's better to be safe than sorry. And I would, well, you don't have to take medical advice from me, but please go to the emergency room if you do want to take medical advice from me. I have seen my primary care provider and went south very, very quickly. So I'm not sure that that's the way I would go if well, I wouldn't go that way again. But you guys do whatever you need to do to keep yourselves healthy and take care of yourselves. Thank you for coming to my channel tonight. I'm going to throw up a couple pieces of jewelry. I have opened a business account on Instagram as well, and at some point I will put the link to that. I'm so excited about this endeavor that I cannot express it enough. It's a creative outlet that I enjoy so much. The time just working with small things with my hands, it helps my mental health so much to just throw music in and go away. So I'm going to be putting them up and you don't have to watch, but I would appreciate it if you did. And also, it's the holiday season. If you would like to go look, there is something for everyone, men, women, whatever, adults, teens. I wouldn't say children, but you're not children. Good night, and thank you so much for all of your support. I really help you. No, it really helps me. What is wrong with me? It really helps me to know that you are there and that you have reached, so many of you have reached out and sent me prayers and all your thoughts and your kindness. Good night.